breath, filling upper, middle, lower lungs. Exhale and release. One more deep breath, upper, middle, lower lungs. Exhale and release. Okay, a few questions on the CDs here as we're going through. King Solomon CD. Those that know King Solomon was a king at approximately 14 years old. King David was his father. King David, again, the shepherd boy, the ruddy or the red hair, as we call it, brought the tribes of Israel together. King Solomon was a king at 14 years old. And this was well past 1000 plus BC. He probably, 1000 BC, he died around 900 or 905 BC around there, passed down transition. But King Solomon became a king very young. And he was putting together the tribes. They had many minerals to trade in Israel, and surrounding countries around Israel at that time were very well established, and Israel needed to trade with them to build their country up. So what they did is they sent out scribes at that time, the high priests. The scribes, again, came back from these neighboring kingdoms around the southern Mediterranean, Mesopotamia, around the area, all the way eventually into Africa, all the way from the Silk Trail into India, even from China. He came back. And as word spread over many, many years, from his childhood into his teen years here, King Solomon, this young boy king of these million-plus people, this brand new kingdom in the middle of this desert. These other kings, how lucky can we be? All this labor, we need, it's the Bronze Age. We have all this labor to move these minerals to us. They need everything we have. We'll be very wealthy trading with them. Well, during this time period, as these scribes came back, they came back with women, and the women were the king's daughters of these other countries. The only high-educated females during that time period, they were by the clergy, or the clerks, or the high priests would write everything down, and they would train the kings and queens during this time period in history. And those that have studied history know that these females were very well educated. They were the PhDs of their time. So they knew the language, the culture, the spirituality, the religion, as everything for healing. So they knew the multiple languages. So they basically were the PhDs. So they married into these other kingdoms, and they handled the trade, or they were the representatives of their new king between them and the old country. So almost like an ambassador. But they married. So the King Solomon did not walk down Main Street and says, "You're my wife, you're my wife, you're my wife, you're my wife, you're my wife." This is how, you know, he had 300, some say 400, 500 wives. Where did they come from? Again, many other kings had many wives, but not as many as King Solomon. The other kings sent their daughters. They were the ambassadors. They married, they created this trade pact between the two countries, the two kings, as they say, and they handled all the trade. They were the wisdom. Here's this 14-year-old boy king. You have all these women who are probably over the 18, 19, 20, in their early 20s or mid-20s, very well educated. Here's this 14-year-old boy king saying, "You're my wife." He goes, "Sit down, young man. You have something to learn." You know, and you guys are one imagine how 300 women telling you what to do was probably what King Solomon plus. So what the high priest did, they wrote all this knowledge down, and they created the first world library of all this multicultural, different countries, different religions known on earth at this time. Through all this trade, King Solomon was considered one of the wealthiest kings of all times, and one of the wisest kings of all times. Again, so with all this knowledge, they built the first world library. They built Jerusalem. They covered it with gold. So the whole thing was gold. So from scratch, and from his wealth on this. So through this knowledge, people would travel thousands of miles, almost like going to a guru and asking the questions and come through. So through this book, we call it the Secret Chamber of the Heart. They teach this in the World Mystery Schools. So the World Mystery Schools, when King Solomon passed in around 900 BC, his sons fought over the money, like most families, some families even do today, in the different tribes. And they created different enemies with different countries and trade. They would trade with one country or the next. And what happened, they've been fighting ever since. Israel has not been at peace since King Solomon was king. And this is so true. This is true to today. But through this knowledge, the high priest moved this for safety. They moved all this information, this library, as these wars broke out. They moved it to Egypt for a while. They were rumors of the Egyptian mystery school, and this is where it came from. It's all known religions at that time, or all sacred things on earth were held in the school where anyone could study or priest. And it was even said in ancient scripture, where some of you may know Jesus. There actually did a very short-term study there. And on his road back is when he started picking up the apostles. So the high kings, again, were very much high teachers at that time. So those that have studied the Ascended Masters, many of the kings were very wealthy, very wise, as you know, in their teachings as they go through. But Jesus' mission on earth was very short. It was to bring compassionate love out to the world, make that wave to move forward in his teachings, which created this huge change in the world itself. But through these teachings, I studied six weeks of classes in the mystery school. During this, again, those that do not know my background, my grandmother was very psychic in our family. Most people have a psychic member of the family. I know the Being One Center, who's over here, Ilana, that's still up. Her mother's very psychic, her sister's very psychic. Even one of the Igor over here in the corner, he went down to Brazil as a stockbroker from Wall Street. Oh my God, with the scissors up his nose, connected to the universe. He saw himself outside of his body. He couldn't believe what was happening. I probably should have asked permission there. And he's from Wall Street. Everything is down. What's happening to me? Why am I seeing this? Why are these people talking to me like this? He's questioning. Next thing you know, he's connected to the universe. His spirit is out. Boom, coming from Wall Street. Also, he's this grand healer in life. He rewrote his contract. He's creating all these new things, and he's now creating this new center in Northeast Philadelphia called the Being One Center. So again, they'll have their brochures on the table over there. They're having their grand opening fair just to bring people in, to get to know different people. Another establishment for working higher spirituality. So there's a whole family, many generations of this energy behind this that has been come down for a reason. So of their channelings and their energies moving forward and their visions. So we all have visions, as we did. As King Solomon, a year or so, it was taught that there are 12 layers to our DNA. We teach this in the class. We will be teaching this at the Being One Center. We do not know our dates yet. When we, after our sound session here Saturday night, we will be going over to the Shenandoah Valley. We've been called over there. People had prayer groups to bring us there. When we said we would come, they were cheering and crying. So they're very much have very small groups of their families. They've been through years and years of depression in the coal mines, change, and there's a lot of alcohol and drug use. So there's a lot of healing very deeply that needs to go. So we're going to do there. We'll give a lot of free sessions out. People very poor will be out there. So we do not know how long, at least several weeks, if not a month. So it's part of our mission. I am a volunteer. I've given up all my life possessions to do this, as John of God has. He's on a healing mission. He does not teach. So through my healing in Brazil that I went through, again, as being I say, go back to my childhood, I could see colors or auras as a child. I picked up this gift in my DNA through my grandmother. Some of you have gifts as children also, or some of your grandchildren now have these gifts. They're very open to it. As is very much more open to it now. But I was very scared or frightened, and many of us, we do things, we go to drugs or alcohol or different things in your life, and to close down the voices, the colors, things we're seeing, and we try to, we don't fit in with society. We don't know why we're here. We're very scared. Some of you may question yourself. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave this earth or this body. I don't understand what's going on. And many of us have had different questions about this as we went through. But through these teachings of color and light, they go all the way back to King Solomon as a sacred energy member. So we'll be teaching this class. We can teach this. We've been normally doing it in 3 days. We can push it down to 2 days because it's a very intensive class. So it's all energy. And what happens is you start changing. We teach you to do this, and you start, your family members, you don't know how to tell them you're doing it. They start changing around. Brothers and sisters haven't talked in 5 years are talking again. People coming up as you're running these colors, unconditional love, you're awakening them from all this programming and these things that are happening. And you find yourself changing, your life path changing, your family around you, some very quickly. My father leapfrogged. He was Archie Bunker, yelling at the TV. He was drinking martinis at noon. I hated him for many months, and he ends up checking himself into rehab in 3 days. He was a fisherman in northern Wisconsin. Retired early, nothing to do, a fisherman's drink. Next thing he's drinking more and more and angry with the world. So he comes out of there, just painting him. He became president of his Homes Association. On the lake there, he's lighting fires in the fireplaces, warming people's houses where they come up there, flowers on their table from his garden, vegetables. People would never know he was an Archie Bunker. Oh, he's beautiful person we know. And you see these changes in your own family. Some persons change very quickly, some not so quickly. But again, one of the many classes and different things. So connect to that new center and just bring that some of that energy. We bring it back to here to Pebble Creek, or it's just this all general area. This area, so allow it to flow around for people or different teachings as it flows through. So it's nice to have new centers opening again. So this is the challenge here from we teach in the class. We blast this and put it on CD. Very powerful to listen to with headphones. Not always recommended if you're tired and driving at night, because you may be leaving your body and your vehicle still going down the road, but you're not in it. So it all goes with color, bringing the higher vibrations. Remember, you are the Celine Dion's, the Mariah Carey's, bringing in the high notes. So just follow along, and it's amazingly changing for you. So we do some much deeper teachings from the CDs. We get into the Templar Nights and all the things of sacred geometry, the DNA, the ancient names of God for each layer of the DNA, all 12 layers. That was down. As we taught many different times. The other CD here is Sedna, Companion of the Whales. So those interested are coming on Saturday night. We have we had solutions here locally in Bucks County. We've got several healing sessions of sound.
Amazing.
Very strong. So testimony wasn't in there. It's very strong, very clearing. It'll clear things from past lives, present lives. And we do this through these planetary chakra gongs. These gongs are made of nickel silver. They're put out by a company called Paiste. Every orchestra in the world uses Paiste gongs because they're very symphonic. It's more than just the brass, how the metal resonates. The highest resonating metals are gold and silver, again, and platinum. So there's the silver in there with this. But they're all hand-hammered like a Tibetan bowl to exact hertz or vibrations. And these vibrations, again, are tuned in with these areas of our body, or chakras, but they're also tuned, those that follow astrology, they're tuned into the planets. When we're born, how we by these different planetary vibrations. So as we play these, there's many different octaves and different notes coming off of that as they're flowing through these areas. So there's a lot of energy that flows around the world, around the room, again, hundreds and then millions of times per second as this builds up. So you lay down during this, if you choose to, on padding and support the body, blankets and pillows. You can sit in and bring your anti-gravity chair. Some people will choose to sit in a chair during this. I've had a few people plop out of their chair, they don't really stand the ground, but occasionally, but it's not that extreme to sit in a chair if you choose to. But we'll have a whole wall of these gongs. So the first hour we play the gongs, and I'll have a wireless mic where so I'll guide you through clearing and setting your intentions of each one as we go through each one of these. And then we'll have 23 of these high alchemy bowls. Today we have moldavite here. Those that know crystals, moldavite's a very high channeling crystal. We also have a zestulite, which is a very high channeling crystal. So we'll be playing those today for you. But we have 23 of these we travel with, and also the Pisces planetary gongs, and all of the chakras, plus we have Sedna, and also, which is another planet in our solar system. Many of you have not heard, anybody has heard of Sedna? People astrology. It's a planet in our solar system. It was discovered in 1995 by the Hubble telescope. It's pink in color and covered with ice, and it goes in a big oval orbit outside of Pluto around the sun. So besides a circular orbit, it goes almost twice as far as Pluto, over twice as far as Pluto does. And when they point the satellite dishes at this little planetoid, it's pink in color, covered ice, it comes back whale calls through space. Like Jodie Foster in Contact, they did that movie. So they get that. So they named it after the Inuit or Eskimo goddess of the sea, the companion of the whales. This planet vibrates at 128 hertz. Remember, each chakra has a vibration note. 128 hertz is right below our sternum, right here. This is where we store deeply embedded traumas and traumas. Ooh, you foreclosed on your mortgage. You know, one of your ancestors transcended. You've got in a car accident. We felt like these traumas happened to us. Well, even little things, we felt like we've been punched right there. So whether it's past life or present life, things that have been following us from lifetime to lifetime spiritually. Remember the person that's afraid of mice because they died in a plague, or water, or heights, or something, anything around us. So we carry these traumas. We don't know where they're from. Doctors can't explain it. Things that have happened to us. You know, I've had people that were burned at the stake as a witch. They chose, like, they never see anything again because they saw something and they said they did and they were punished for it. So again, they're afraid of fire, or they jump back, or they close down that seventh chakra, or the sixth chakra. They're visioning from it. So we've all had different traumas, things that have happened to us. We've lost family members and different illnesses and disease in the past, or wars, or things. We carry these traumas spiritually, and they kind of scar our spirit. But this is a time on our spiritual path to release, and the gongs help do that. When you wake up in the morning, you're crystal clear. It feels like, wow, you know, no drugs or anything. It's all spiritual. There's no voices in your head. You're like, oh, I feel like my head's in the literally, you feel like you're 70 feet tall and up above the trees. You feel like a giant walking around. You're so clear from this. It's all about bringing those vibrations, those repetitive patterns as we go through. So the first hour is the gongs. The second hour we go to the bowls. All these alchemy bowls made of different crystals, which send these vibrations past 100,000 hertz up into the fifth dimension. And what we do is we bring you all the way back. We'll guide you on the meditation through your life path, through your body, through your birth, back to your angels facing Earth. And then they will turn you around and go past the moon and the sun, bringing in the energies of the right brain, the feminine, the left brain, the masculine, the yin and yang, the balance of the right and left lobes of the brain, binaural. And then we'll go through the sun to the creation energy, the God, connecting to all the suns and the creation energy of the universe. Mother Earth will call us back. We'll go all the way back through the birth very quickly, back to our bodies. We'll fly up from our bodies through the ceiling. Your body will stay here. No one will be floating. But in a dream, it's called a dream travel. And through this state of high vibrations, it's almost like we're daydreaming. We can travel anywhere, no frequent flyer miles needed for this. So we will fly out to the ceiling. We'll fly around the world to about 30 different points, like a flock of spiritual geese. We'll fly from point to point. Some of us will go on our own little dreams or little missions when we get somewhere, maybe from a past lifetime we may choose to do this. Majority of you will be in an alpha state, which is a dream-like daydream state. Thinking of this. Some of you go into, some people occasionally go into a delta state, very deep. But we'll go around the world and come back to this. And this is very important because tomorrow we actually have a solar eclipse of the new moon. We had a lunar eclipse early. So those that have read the website or